Hello and welcome to Lutherans Alive. My name is Gregory Held, and this is the program that brings you the story of Lutheran Christians and their ministries in southwestern Pennsylvania. And from time to time we have the privilege of meeting folks from a little further away, but always to talk about ministry of some sort. Today we want to welcome Clarence and Marlene Strabel from Smithport, north of us here in Pennsylvania, members of Trinity Lutheran Church there. Clarence and Marlene, welcome.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to have you with us and to have a chance to talk about Mission Builders. Mission Builders is a program that we might read about in our Lutheran magazine or see a promotion from time to time, but we don't always have a chance to have first-hand experience. So we're happy to have you with us and to have a chance to talk about Mission Builders. Before we do that, though, let's give our folks a chance to get to know you just a little bit. Would you describe for us a little bit about Smithport and Trinity Lutheran Church? What's home like for you these days?
We live in Smithport, Pennsylvania, which is in the northern tier. It's about 150 miles directly north of Pittsburgh in McKean County, which a number of people in this area I found out are very familiar with because they like to hunt deer. And they have camps in that area.
It's kind of a standard pilgrimage north when hunting season comes around.
It used to be more of a pilgrimage than it is now because the deer are less in our area and the deer are more in this area.
That's true.
So it's not the pilgrimage that it used to be, but it is still a good hunting area.
And you've lived there a good long time, I understand.
About 50 years. We came to Smithport from Evans City, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
We worked there for 2 years. We both are involved in education. I taught math and science, and my wife taught business. And we taught there for 2 years, and then we moved to Smithport in 1959. So we've been there ever since.
And tell us a little bit about about Trinity congregation.
Trinity is a small congregation. When we moved to Smithport, it was affiliated as a Swedish church. We had there's a lot of Swedish background in McKean County. We also share our pastor with a sister congregation in Port Allegheny, Gethsemane. We've been a yoke parish now for probably 30 years. And Pastor Boehm is now our pastor. He's been our pastor now for the last 3 years.
So you've got a good long experience with cooperation and working together.
Yes, we've worked as mission builders for the past 16 years, and this is really our 16th project, and yes, it's been a very good experience.
Very good. Where did you first hear about the concept of mission builders, and was it something you knew right away from the beginning that you'd like to get involved in, or did it take a little while to grow on you?
No, we first heard about it, we were getting close to being able to retire. And so we decided we needed something to do when we were retired. And I'd seen an article in the Lutheran about the mission builders and what they did. So we just talked about that and decided that might be something we would try. And at that time, Bill Hansen was the director of Mission Builders.
Okay.
And before I retired, he came to one of the fall men's meeting in Warren, Pennsylvania. And so when he came there, I made a point to go to the men's meeting. And I called him to see if I could meet with him. And so after the men's meeting, we had dinner together, and he talked to me about Mission Builders and said, if you'd like to join, I have an application. So I took an application home, we filled it out and sent it in, and got back word that we were accepted. But we didn't do that right away because I was still working, and I didn't have enough time in the summer to devote to that. So we waited till I retired 2 years, and then when I retired, we took a job. And after we did the first job, we decided that was going to be it.
It was a good experience.
And we've been with it ever since.
Were the two of you used to working together on a lot of projects?
Well, we both worked in the same high school, for one thing, so we started out working together for many years.
Okay.
He was a guidance counselor, and I taught business, and he was just down the hall. So when we talked about mission building, he loves to work with wood, and he likes to build things. I'm much more of an organizer, and so we sort of fit as a pair because my function is more as liaison and helping him when I can.
Actually, for anybody that's involved with Mission Builders, it's it's a team effort. It requires both a husband and a wife. And if one or the other is even though one may be very satisfied with the program and the other isn't, it's not a good mix, and they don't really pan out very well. Sooner or later they're going to quit because it takes both people to be satisfied. And there's a lot of cooperation, there's a lot of give and take has to go on.
Well, I think whenever you're talking about a project of this size, cooperation and having people be able to work together is going to be an important part of the project. You mentioned going to the men's meeting, Clarence, up in Warren, PA. Was there an active men's group in Smithton? Or was that your interest to find some wider connections?
We had an active men's group in Smithport, but it wasn't active at that time. And I went to the fall men's meeting mainly to see Bill Hansen.
Okay.
So that's what drew me there, although I did work on the Synod in our area for the men in mission. I was very active in that. I'm not anymore, but I was active in that. I was I was a treasurer for that organization for about 3 years, which was on a Synod level. And we used to meet regularly, and that took in our northwestern Pennsylvania Synod at that time.
The first project that you got involved in, were you stepping in as leaders at that point, or were you kind of getting on board as on the learning end of things?
We were the new kids on the block, and that was in Fulton, New York. And we came in June. He had a 10-month contract, so when he retired, we were several weeks late coming onto the project. And it's quite a learning experience from the standpoint of there are ladies on the job, and you need to learn to fill in, and everyone has certain little chores that they do, and just trying to acclimate yourself to a different way of life.
What kind of a project was that first one? Was it a church building?
It was in Fulton. That was a mission congregation, and that was their first building. Up until that time, they'd been worshiping in a variety of churches. They'd worship in a church until that church grew, and then they had to move somewhere else, and so they made the circuit of most of the churches that they could worship in, and they were big enough then to do their own building.
We're at the point where we have to take a short break. We'll be back in just a minute, and maybe we can, when we come back, talk a little bit about the whole Mission Builders concept for folks who might not be familiar with that.
Okay.
We'll be right back.